Do you understand? This bamboo becomes a sword.
If you are here to know what the killer poke is, I will tell you straight ahead. Poke is a command of basic programming language. Poke is a typical command like the load or the save or the goto command. With poke command, you enter a value directly into a memory address. And with the pick command, you extract the value from a memory address. For example, the command poke 10,000,5 will place the decimal value 5, which happens to be also the hexadecimal value 5, into memory location 10,000. And the command pick 10,000 will return the value 5, letting us know what the contents of this memory location are. So the killer poke is a command that is claimed to cause physical damage on the hardware of the machine. How something like that could be possible, you might ask? Well, think of something like overclocking, where you deliberately cause the CPU to work much more intense without installing a heat sinker. Eventually, your computer will black out because of high temperature. Does the killer poke work like that? No. How does it work? Well, the early Commodore PETs were relatively slow compared to the next Commodore PETs that were released later on. And on those early Commodore PETs, there was this command, poke 59,458,62, also known as the killer poke, which was not a killer after all. It was only supposed to speed up the system by a factor of 2. It literally made your system run at double speed. How did this command achieve that? By showing you some extra garbage on the screen. The killer poke was enabling a specific routine on which your monitor was not refreshed or else cleared on every circle, and thus each circle lasted less, making the computer faster. To be more exact, the killer poke is related to the architecture of that machine's video rasterizer circuits. The killer poke affected the I/O chip, the input-output chip, and made the machine able to display text and graphics on the screen 2 times faster. Because it was not clearing up the whole screen each time a new character had to be pushed on the video memory. This was accomplished by disabling a wait-to-print screen safeguard designed to reduce static noise by preventing the shared video RAM from being read at the same time as it was being written to by the CPU. With this safeguard disabled, graphics could appear on the screen twice as fast, but small bits of noise would also appear. Despite the noise and the artifacts, some games designed for the early PETs included this poke in their source code in order to benefit from the faster graphics. When the new PET came out, it had updated its hardware. The video rasterizer circuits were redesigned to run at a faster speed and without the need of a wait-to-print safeguard. Thus, the old poke trick no longer resulted in a faster computer. Instead, performing the poke on the newer versions led to a strange behavior by the new video chip, which could cause signal contention and possibly damage the PET's integrated CRT monitor. This is because the exact pin targeted by the poke command, the pin 15, used to control display timing. But in the upgraded video chip, on the newer versions, the pin controlled the vertical sync, and thus running the poke on the newer hardware caused graphics to compress vertically, sometimes down to an extreme bright horizontal line. And thus fears were born that this anomaly might burn the display of the CRT monitor. And this is how the name killer poke was invented. Despite the fearful nickname, it is not known to ever have caused any permanent damage to a pet monitor. Anyway, now that we took the famous but ineffective Killer Poke out of the way, let's focus on the beautiful monitor of the Commodore PET, which I'm in love with. And why I'm in love with it? Because it works magically. You load the monitor program with the sys4 command. With the word monitor, I am not referring to the screen. The word monitor is used to describe the oldest forms of command prompt assemblers or command prompt machine language entering data. Let me show you a trick here on this beautiful Commodore PET. I am going to use its monitor to directly enter machine code in hexadecimal. I am basically repeating the same CPU instruction on every line and changing only the ASCII character. Each of these lines correspond to an ASCII character, and what this program will do is just to print a string on the screen, and the word will be Angelos, my name. I like this computer very much. When I become famous, I hope someone sends me one, or perhaps I could spend some money and get one when my cash flow will be a river. Most Commodore PETs, except the very first ones, come with this monitor installed in the ROM. You could just start programming from the very first day you bought it. Of course, you might ask, who can program in machine code? Well, I do. And not only I do, but I also find it amazingly interesting. Oh, and just for the record, Commodore PET has a 6502 CPU running at 1 MHz. It comes with 4 until 96 kilobytes of RAM. It sold around 200,000 units, and it was sold typically with a cassette tape deck, a 5.25-inch floppy or an 8-inch floppy. It has a monochrome display. Fantastic monitor. I am simply amazed by it. This proves that I wouldn't be miserable if I was born 10 or 20 years earlier. I would still find things to do. The magical part of this monitor is that you can move freely. You can go at the end of the first line, for example, and press enter. And now it took this line. And on the next lines, I don't have to go to the end of the line each time in order to press enter. I can just press enter while my cursor is located in the beginning of the line, and the monitor will do its job. The instructions will be entered into the memory locations indicated in the beginning of the lines. And so now we are going to call the memory location that holds the beginning of our code. And as you can see, the word is printed on the screen as it's supposed to. So thanks for watching, and I wouldn't recommend that you subscribe in my channel because I will drive you crazy with what I'm about to upload.